Hello, everyone. Allan Knight here with another Night Talk interview with another Zen Zone Mindset member. And today I have a very special guest. It means a lot to me because him and I go back, well, I won't say how many years because I'll give away too much private information. But Mr. Macdonald from Vancouver. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, Alan. Always a pleasure to connect with you.
Yeah, sometimes you meet people in your life, even though you're not best friends in the sense of talking with them every day, you get along with them as if you've known them for ages. And, you're one of those guys, we just hit it off right away. So why don't, before we even start with your personal story, maybe you could reflect on how we met. What were you doing when we met? I think you were in real estate at the time.
I was in real estate in West Vancouver with a national real estate company, and you came with doing a presentation on, I can't remember exactly, but it had to do with communication.
Right.
And I was just very impressed with who you were, your presence, and I actually got some value of what you had said. And because of that, I've maintained a somewhat of a relationship with you, always interested in what you're doing and your seminars and your workshops, and kept connected with you in that way. But that's where I first met you. That was a while back.
That's fantastic. Now, when I think of you, I think immediately of you teach people how to be confident, how to speak, how to communicate, how to public speak, whatever. Why don't you step back a little bit before you talk more about what you're doing currently and the exciting things you're going to be doing? I know you're all about finding your voice. That's your big deal. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about your background and how that was an issue in you growing up and how you turned that around?
I remember when I was a young kid, and there was my father had said some things to me on a regular basis that really had a profound effect on me. And that was, Michael, children should be seen and not heard. Children should be seen and not heard. So whenever they had company over, I'd be sitting in the living room, very, proper, sitting there, listening to what they were saying. And I had no opportunity to share what I wanted to say. And, similarly, Sunday dinner table, my father would be talking away. And if I spoke up, he would say, Michael, keep quiet and finish your dinner. And, then I run away. And another time I remember watching a TV program and something happened. I asked my dad a question. Oh, well, he reprimanded me. He said, what a stupid question. Why don't you think a bit before? So I realized that it was better just to keep quiet.
Wow.
And then a situation, and what happened was, as I was growing up, I'd always be sitting on the circumference, looking in, watching what's going on and listening, but never participating. Hey, Michael, why don't you come and join us? Oh, it's okay. And then I remember one day, I was sitting around the kitchen table and somebody was talking about something and I totally disagreed with what they were saying, yet I kept quiet. I didn't share my opinion. And the next day it's, Michael, like, what's going on? What are you so afraid of that you couldn't share, what you wanted to say? And it was then I realized that I wanted to speak up. Wow. I wanted to show up and share my voice.
How old were you when that happened, Michael?
Well, growing up was a young kid. This was older. This was
when you went through that recognition and awareness.
Well, believe it or not, in my 30s.
Wow.
In my 30s. I was just in my 30s. But what I did find that was interesting, I was a great observer and a great listener. At least acquired those skills. So I always liked watching people. I liked listening to what they were saying, yet I wasn't speaking up myself.
So when you became aware of that being a deeply rooted pattern, did that awareness cause you to wake up and change dramatically, consistently, or did you have to practice it over a period of time?
Well, it was interesting, Alan. I mean, I was in my 20s, I was a mathematics teacher. So I was a teacher. I was able to stand up in front of a classroom. I felt comfortable enough and confident in sharing myself as a teacher. And in the 30s, believe it or not, I became a professional model and actor, where we had to stand in front of the camera and be more confident. I would take a lot of acting courses to just feel more comfortable in my communication skills and in my confidence level. But I'm not saying, I was just definitely, didn't speak my mind. I just didn't feel, how do I say, authentic
Right,
in my voice.
right, right.
And this was something that I've been developing
So that's
throughout,
proof you're
throughout my
turning
time.
lemon into lemonade, and now you're teaching people how to do it through your programs.
Exactly.
So tell
Exactly.
us more, but obviously we'll have other opportunities maybe to share in more detail, but why don't you tell people what you're currently doing and what's some interesting stuff down the pipe that you talked to me about?
Well, what I'm currently doing, Alan, right now brings me a great joy. I'm teaching young students ages 8 to 16 public speaking and values of leadership. And to be part, just to watch these kids when they first start, they're so shy. They don't want to stand in front of the classroom. They're so afraid of saying anything for fear of rejection or judgment. And over the time, watching them feeling more comfortable, feeling more confident, and finding their voice and share what they want to share, it just brings me great joy because these kids are brilliant.
That's fantastic.
When they develop, when they just get to get into their imagination and just feel comfortable enough and share, I'm in awe.
You're being the father that you never had in a sense. Not that your father did his best. We understand that.
Oh, he did the best he could. Exactly right. And it's interesting. I'm an older gentleman. These are young students, but that age difference doesn't show up, which I find interesting because I have the kid in me. And when I'm with these young students, that kid in me comes out. So that
Beautiful.
there's fun, it's comfortable, and it's a safe environment. And I think what's important is that it's a safe environment where there's no right or wrong, there's no judgment, no criticism. Make mistakes because that's how we learn. And when they feel comfortable enough, they're willing to take risks and move forward. But what's the interesting thing is when I ask them, what do you like about what you're doing? Do you notice a difference? They look at me, but all of us, they can share. Yes, I do notice the change in me. I do notice I'm more comfortable and more confident. For them to share that at a young age,
Beautiful.
I think that's wonderful.
Beautiful. Now, for people that are listening that would like to get to know more about your actual profession, not that with the kids is not part of your profession, but I'm assuming you have programs where you teach people how to have confidence and speak in public, etc. What do you currently offer to people?
Well, I have I have programs that are set up. That would depend on the individual. So we would cater that to their needs. What are you looking for? What do you want? A lot of the thing is, who are you? Where do you want to go? And how do we get there? So that's the first thing, is find out what do you need? Well, what do you want and what do you need? And then we can work.
So it's more than just teaching them public speaking.
Oh,
you assess their whole life, really. You're like a life coach in a sense.
Yeah, public speaking is not just standing on stage and doing a presentation. There's way more than that. It's looking inside and asking yourself, why are you called to speak? What's your message and what you want to say to it? You want to be able to connect with the audience,
right.
And you want the audience to leave with something. My motto is, you have a voice, show up, be seen, be heard, be remarkable.
Beautiful.
And I think that's
what a
yeah.
message. Great message. Now, how do people get in touch with you, my friend?
They can get in touch with me on my website, which is michaelmacdonald.ca. And Macdonald is Macdonald. My phone number, 604-607-5466. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. There's lots of ways that we connect, and then just start the conversation and see how we can help each other.
Beautiful. Now, one last thing before you go. If you were going to give one tip away, more than anything, the most important tip you could possibly give today, what would that tip be?
Just say it. Just speak up.
Wow.
And, again, I always say, as long as, I just share it and not worry about it. And the base thing, it's okay to make a mistake. It's not the mistake. It's what you do with it. You drop the ball. How do you pick it up?
I just realized what's a question that some people might ask you after you said, just say it, speak up, which I was very much like you, by the way. I was very suppressed, was very afraid to speak up. My father. Can you hear me, Mike?
Yeah, you just cut it out a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
My father was quite strict, and I felt very much suppressed like you did. So I'm all about speaking up. But how would you respond to some people that said, well, isn't it appropriate sometimes not to speak up, because you don't want to speak up if it's inappropriate and you're going to unnecessarily hurt someone or do something that could turn against you. So would you say that we're talking about when you're not speaking up, when it's a fear and insecurity that you need to overcome?
I think you have to. Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
It's like you really have to know who your audience.
It's called common sense, right?
Yeah, it's again, it's not being racist, it's not being sexist, it's not being it's appropriate conversation, and you have to judge, is this an opportune time to speak? But what I find for myself is authenticity versus expectations. Growing up, we're all, I'm expected to behave this way, I should look this way, I should talk this way, and we're not being authentic.
Yes.
And for me, is embracing my authenticity, the truth of who I am. And if you're being authentic, that's the power.
Well, I'm being authentic now when I say you're a great guy, you're handsome like me, we're old buddies, we're old guys that still look young and youthful, and let's make use of the rest of our life to make a difference in the world. And you're one of them.
Exactly.
Nice
Allan.
to talk with you, Mike.
Thanks very much, Allan. Have a great day.
Okay, talk soon, eh?
Bye.